Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shani, and this is Shani's story time. And you could probably already tell what this video is going to be about by the title. But before we get into that, if you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell. That way, whenever I post a new video, you will be notified that I post a new video. So yes, so judging by the title, you're going to know that this video is going to be about the first time I met my dad. I met my dad for the first time, and this is the story time related to that. So, this happened, again, if you don't already know, the stories I tell in this channel, they're all real stories, true stories, and this story is based on my memory of what happened and what I experienced the first time that I met my dad, right? So it started when I was about somewhere between 2 and 3 years old. I don't recall if I had turned 3 yet, but I know for a fact I did not turn 4 yet. So it was before I turned 4. And it was after I turned 2. So it's somewhere in between the ages of 2 and 4 that I met my dad. Well, that I remember meeting my dad for the first time. So this time I was living with my mother at this time still. I know the previous mother spoke about, the previous video I spoke about my mother and her giving me up when I was 3 years old. She gave me away when I was 3 years old. If you haven't seen that video, just go back and watch it. But this video is before she gave me away, and I was living with her in Kingston, Jamaica. In the past 2 videos, I asked you to guess where I'm from. So yes, I am from Kingston, Jamaica, man. That's where I come from. Yeah, so no, that's where I was living with my mother at the time. And I vividly recall it was a Sunday. I actually remember exactly what I was wearing, which is weird that I remember that. I was wearing this short set. So it was like a pale yellow shorts, and it had a little picture on one thigh, and the same picture on the thigh matches the picture on the shirt. So it was like a cartoon picture type drawing art thing that's on the shirt, and the same picture was in the short set on the thigh of the short. I just knew it was yellow. It was like a very pale yellow outfit. That's what I wore. That's what I remember. Now, in the previous video, I mentioned I live with my mother. She works 6 days a week, and Monday through Saturday. And you'd have to go back and watch it. I'm going to explain that here. But either way, anyway, this was a Sunday. So on a Sunday, when usually my mother is off from work on Sundays, and that's usually when she do all her laundry and houseworks around the house, laundry, everything. She gets ready for the week. We usually don't leave the house on Sundays. We're usually home on Sundays. We just don't go anywhere on Sundays. But this particular Sunday, she got me dressed. She didn't have a car. We take, public transportation at that time. And she got me dressed, and I'm like, where are we going? She didn't tell me where we were going. I just knew we were going somewhere. We got dressed, got on this bus, the city bus, and we drove somewhere. I don't recall if we took more than one bus to get there. I just knew we got on a bus and we went there. Didn't know where we were going. We got to this house. I remember the house had a huge gate. It probably wasn't huge because I was about 3 years old. To me, the gate looked huge, right? And in front of the house was this huge field, like a dirt field. That's what I remember. Then I remember my mother arguing with this man. She was talking to this man, and they had an argument. I don't know who the man was at the time. I just knew they had an argument. And she was yelling at him, screaming back and forth at him. And she went inside the gate, inside the front yard, and she was arguing with him in there. Then she was yelling, "Oh, she's your child too. You have to take care of her. She's your child too. You have to take care of her." She kept yelling that over and over, or something to that sense. You have to take care of her too. She's your child too. And I remember she walked out the gate, closed the gate behind her, and left me inside the gate. There were other people there. I don't know who these people were, like on the porch. I don't know who they were. But I remember my father was there, and she was yelling at him, like, "You got to take care of your daughter. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do that." Meanwhile, I am screaming my head off, because here she is now leaving me with this man who's presumably, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, presumably my father, and I don't know him. I've never seen this man before in my life, from my memory. I'm sure I did as a baby. I don't know this man. And here goes the one person I'm supposed to trust in my entire life, and she's leaving me in this yard, in the front yard, closed the gate and walked away, and telling this man that he has to take care of me. So in my mind, my mother is abandoning me, and she left and she walked away. Then at some point, I think somebody that was inside the front yard opened the gate. I ran out. When I ran out, my mother was walking down the sidewalk to the left. My father was walking up the dirt field to the right. And my father was another guy. I don't know who the guy was. I think he later told me who that guy was. I think he said it was my godfather. Don't quote me on that because I don't remember for sure. But my father was walking that way. Across the dirt field, my mother was walking that way down the sidewalk. And I remember chasing down the sidewalk after my mother, yelling and crying and screaming while she's yelling across the field to this man, that's your child too, that's your child too, you have to take care of her, you got to take care of her because she's your child. But in my mind, my mother is leaving me. That's how I entered. That's why I was screaming. It was because I thought she was leaving me with this stranger. So now, not only is she leaving me because I feel like she doesn't want me, she's leaving me. The person who apparently must be my father is also leaving me. So there she walked away, and he walked away. And here I am running down the sidewalk screaming. It's my mother screaming, my little tears, my little face covered in tears because she walked away and left me there, right? I later found out if I was 3, by this point my father done had 2 more children. If I was 3, he at this point would have had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old that was born after me, who I never met. So, and I, at this point, didn't know that either. My mother must have known, though, why she kept yelling that she's your child too, and you have to take care of her. But my interpretation of that at that time, I wasn't interpreting that he had other kids, and he had to take care of me too. I just interpreted it as he's a parent too, and she shouldn't be taking care of me by myself. That's how I interpreted it as a 2-year-old when she kept yelling, she's your child too, she's your child too, you have to take care of her too. I didn't think that there were other kids that he had. But at the time, he did. He had 2 more kids, and he was taking care of those 2 kids, but not me. So that kind of made my mother upset. And that's kind of why that day she kind of took me over there and was like, listen, what's going on? I need help with taking care of your child, and you're not helping me. But yet still, here you are with 2 more children that you are actually involved in their lives and assisting them and taking care of them. And I later found out that that's true. He did have 2 more kids, and he was involved in their life, and he was taking care of them. But not me. And it turns out that part of the reason why is the person who he had these other 2 children with, he was actually with the mother of those 2 children before he even met my mother. So I'm guessing the way it seemed is that he cheated on that lady with my mother. So my mother was the person who he cheated with and got her pregnant, and then I came out of that. So it's kind of like the outsider. He messed up, went outside of his relationship with another person and got that person pregnant. And then it was almost like he was maybe ashamed, or I don't know what the reason was. Honestly, I can't say he was ashamed, but because he did at some point tell me that he was in the hospital when I was born. So he actually was there to see, well, after I was born, he came to see me at the hospital. So he was aware that my mother was pregnant and that he had another child. He just wasn't involved in my life. So that's why I said the experience was very traumatic, because that's how I remembered it. That's exactly how I remembered it. And my mother eventually did turn back around as I'm chasing her down the sidewalk. She did turn around and came back and got me and took me home with her. And that was the last of that. We never spoke of it. She never really explained anything to me at that point. I just know we went back home. She took me home, and I was happy because she didn't leave me with the strange man that she was yelling at. That's all I remember, and that's all I cared about. I didn't really care about what was going on between them. I just knew that my mother didn't leave me with the stranger. So it was very traumatic, but that's how I remembered it. And that was the first time I met my dad, or remember meeting my dad. And I didn't meet him again until years later. And I could tell you a story on the second time we met, but not in this video. Come back, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, like and subscribe. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think that was a crazy story? And then tell you it's 100% true. It's not what my mother told me. It's not what my father told me. It's what me, who was there, experienced. And that's my story, and that's how I remembered it. I don't know what's going on in my mother's head. Don't know what's going on in my father's head. I can only tell you the story from my point of view, from what I witnessed and what I experienced, and that was what I experienced. So give me a like, give me a subscribe, comment down below if you have any questions. And if you were concerned about where I am from, I am Jamaican born and now live in the US since I was a kid. But I did ask in the last video to put in the comments what island in the Caribbean you think I'm from, and that's the answer to that question. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.